Coming back to the big games, I saw that tomorrow there's another derby that's in Argentina, Independiente versus Racing, and Racing and Independiente
Definitely.
has called Derby de Avellaneda, and then Independiente is not in great form. The Argentine Premier League started not so long ago, obviously, and Racing.
Mm, It's too early to say, but their coach is Cambiaso, right? Independiente
I am not 100% on that. Just to give me a second.
or Veron?
No, that's Estudiantes. Veron is not the
Oh,
coach though. No, it's Eduardo Dominguez.
no,
Eduardo
Dominguez.
Dominguez. But Racing is playing really attractive football under Gago. Fernando Gago is the manager. He didn't do very well in Adolphe, but he had certain style of playing, very attractive style of football. And Racing, he played the last season with Racing, and Racing just hired him. It's almost like Simeone got hired by Racing just after um, he retired. But yeah, Racing is unbeaten so far. Three games. They've won 3 games. They have drawn. But this is a derby, and I think Independiente right now is not far behind as well. So it's a derby. It's one of the historical derby. There's always been fights. If you have time, go Google it. There's some big fights on Racing versus Independiente. Also on Argentine League on Sunday before El Clasico, there's Newell's derby, Newell's Old Boys versus Rosario Central. That is a big derby as well. That
Yeah,
has
there are talks going on like Bielsa could return for
Newell's.
Newell's, yeah.
That that could,
But the new this coach is doing well so far. Um,
yeah. No, he's doing well, but again, you never the stadium's name is itself is a Marcelo Bielsa Stadium. So um, and Rosario playing. I mean, I've seen just one or two games this season so far. Rosario looked all right. I always like their how the midfield operates. So I would be interested to see if I have the time to see the game. But the biggest game of all is after El Clasico. There is Boca Juniors versus River Plate is playing. Um,
Super
the
Classico.
Superclásico, and that would be a must-watch game, at least for me. River is playing some very good football. They are so confident they have named their first 11 2 days
Oh,
before. Like everybody also already knew what is
yeah,
ahead.
but those it's kind of like predict like anyone can predict this 11, so it
Y-
doesn't matter.
Yeah, so he has.
Almost like they're playing the same 11 for like the last 2 3 months. So
Yeah, and also the addition of Ezekiel Barco has been very good because there was a bit of hype
yeah.
how he do if he's going back from MLS to River. He's been very good linking up the play, dribbling well, linking up with Al, Alvarez, Julian Alvarez,
Julian,
yeah, as well as Nico de la Cruz, and this guy Enzo Fernandez. I think is probably the most gifted midfielder at this point playing in Argentina. They're all looking good. I think there's a bit of question mark on the defense. Their defense has not been tested very well, and there's a bit of injury problem with their defenders. But still, they're not really tested, and they have very good midfield and attack. But with Boca, you never know. Boca has very good core of youngsters but this particular coach Pataglia doesn't want to use them as much. He's playing
Yeah, that's the point with like problems with Boca for like last 2 3 seasons even. Like they come up with some talents and they cannot hold those talents because
no,
they,
yeah. If you remember, Boca beat Barcelona 3-1. There was Joan Gamper Trophy,
yeah, yeah.
and some of the key players are still actually rotting on the bench, and some of them are City, and also Ajax is linked with I think Valentina Barco, uh, whose whose name is almost like a Argentine Roberto Carlos. There is a very good chance he might be sold in Europe because he's not getting
Yeah,
enough
but
playtime.
they're not getting any sort of like
No
a
playing time, and also
playing time. That's the problem for them also. Like if they don't impress, because like 1 or 2 matches like they can actually do, anyone can do. Like,
yeah.
but for European teams, them looks for more
But
consistency.
then it's for European teams gain if they get they can now come up with really really low price and get them.
Well, yeah, in a sense, it's also.
You're almost playing on their hand. As the other thing I wanted to mention is I personally liked Augustin Almendra as a midfielder. He's one of the top midfielders I think in that age range. But I think he got into trouble with the manager and he got suspended from the first team. And Boca right now is in the news for all the wrong reason. Like there's fights between players, there's fight between manager and player and stuff like that. So not in a good shape. Not saying they don't have talent, they have a bunch of them, but how could you use that? That's the tricky part. And
But like for I don't think for a while they were in the title race, right?
well, this is just started. I think right now both
No, no, no,
teams.
I was just talking about like the previous seasons. Like
No, they
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 weren't
were
actually in it.
they took off very late, and
Yeah,
I think if I'm correct, they were finished second or third. But
they weren't
but
actually
it
like
was not a
last season.
it was not
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
not a title
I,
competition, but they came
so
back
far I remember, like they were in like sixth or seventh positions in the
and they,
middle
they
of the
came back
season.
like on
Yeah,
top
came back.
top level.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's right now Boca is hard to talk about. It's going to be interesting anyway, given that the fans doesn't care about other games, but care about this particular game. They'll be happy trolling each other.
but do you think it's time for a change for Boca? Because this coach actually stays because of the last minute's performance in the last season, too, right?
Well, then it's under Juan Roman Riquelme who appointed, and I think that's the biggest problem with Argentine some of the teams. There are certain models that work. I think Nicolas Burdizo was previously was a sporting director for Boca, and he got
Yeah,
sacked under the new presidency of Riquelme. Uh, there's a little bit of lack of that. I think the last person who was the ex-player and managed really well was Diego Milito in Racing. He did really well. He's one of the most intelligent and not egoistic person. You know,
but if you, I don't know, like with Riquelme, who can
Riquelme as the
coach?
president.
Yeah,
It's tricky
it's almost same as because he's still short tempered, you know.
it's so sentimental. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's why I want to see at certain point of the career Jose Mourinho as Boca coach. It would be match made in heaven because the passionate Boca
Why?
fans.
Why would you say like if Mourinho would ever consider that?
I
I
think
don't
so.
think.
He should. I mean, if Jose, you're seeing it somehow, I don't know how, but you have to coach Boca because the passion, the shithousery, and
Yeah.
the blaming and constant attacking of the opponent, and either he has to be River coach or he has to be Boca coach. At certain point of time, he has to do that. That would be awesome if that happens at certain point of time because the attack that goes on each other, he has to manage one of those teams, and it could be even better because very recently Pep Guardiola did say he wanted to manage at certain part of his career Boca or River or any other Argentine team in the league, not
Well,
the
he
national.
actually mentioned it before also,
Yeah, he want
and
to
he also
compete.
had, yeah, he also had interest in MLS.
Yeah, it would be nice at very old age Pep, Jose Mourinho probably going against each other at certain point of time. I would be watching that, but yeah, it is. Um, yeah. Again, in terms of your question of coach of Bataglia, I think he's a very very conservative coach, and that's Boca's talents needs someone who is more adventurous,
Yeah.
but also has some kind of pragmatic. He's kind of too pragmatic at this point, but let's see how it turns out for them. But Bataglia is a liability, at least for me, whatever I've seen, because Boca has the players that could win the Libertadores. Forget about league. But if he stays and if he manages like that, and there is player manager conflict, I don't see them going around and winning anything.
Yeah, but let's see. It's too early to say because
Exactly.
the season
But
has just begun.
yeah, there are some cracking games, and hopefully some very very. I think this is the last week before the international break, and there's some international
Yeah.
games coming up as well. And
Also, international playoffs are coming. Portugal,
yes,
uh,
Italy, and
Italy. Yeah.
yeah, some very very important games are coming up as well. But yeah, we can talk about that at certain other time as well.